He felt incredibly guilty over the death of his best friend. So he voluntarily took care of his friend's widow and child. But taking care of them led, eventually, to the bedroom. When I was pregnant and had stomach pains in the middle of the night, I asked him to take me to the hospital. He turned and left, but not to accompany me. Instead, he said, "Catherine's neighborhood has a power outage, and she's scared with Lily. I'll go check on them first." He didn't come back all night. Catherine sent me a photo saying Robert would definitely be a good father in the future. Lying in the hospital bed, having just lost my child, I replied, "You can have him." This year, for Valentine's Day, I spent a lot of time preparing a gift and planning an itinerary. I told Robert about it excitedly, but his face fell. "What's wrong?" I asked. Catherine said, "Lily wants to go to Oakwood Park tomorrow. There seems to be a themed event there, and Catherine is afraid she can't watch Lily alone. Can't she ask her parents or his friends for help? Does it have to be you?" A wave of frustration swelled inside me, demanding to be released. Robert sighed. His parents are getting old. How can they manage? Besides, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Everyone else has their own plans. You know it's Valentine's Day. Everyone has plans except you. Robert frowned and raised his voice. What's the point of arguing with the child about this? Does she even understand Valentine's Day? My face went cold. I stood up to leave. Robert panicked. He grabbed my arm. "Emily, please stop making a scene, okay? I can't help it, you know. When Catherine asks, I can't refuse. I'm really tired. When is this going to end?" Robert said, "When Lily is older, and Catherine gets used to things." He said it without conviction, but I didn't know how to press further, so I could only compromise again. On Valentine's Day, my husband spent the day with someone else. I couldn't get angry, couldn't show dissatisfaction, and even had to wave them off with a smile. They had a great time, eating at the seafood buffet I wanted to go to, while I was home eating instant noodles. Fury surged through me, and I impulsively ordered a bag I had wanted for a long time but couldn't bring myself to buy, charging it to Robert's card. Not long after, Robert called. His voice was laced with laughter. "Not mad anymore?" I said stiffly. "I wasn't mad to begin with." Right, my little sweetie is the most generous. What did you have for lunch?" I glanced at the instant noodles, about to speak. Then I heard Catherine's voice from the other end. "Robert, I'm tired. Can you hold Lily for a bit? Did my little chubby girl gain weight again?" Mean mommy. Daddy hug. That one word, daddy, made my head buzz and explode. Then Robert said, "Emily, I have to hang up. I'll talk to you when I get back." After the call ended, my heart was twisted into a knot. Without thinking, I immediately called back. No answer. I hung up and called again, still no answer. On the fourth try, Catherine picked up. "Emily, is something wrong? Where's Robert? Let me talk to him." She seemed not to hear the coldness in my voice and continued gently. "Robert is playing on the spinning teacups with Lily. He can't take calls right now. Is there something you need? I'll tell him when he's done." This conversation felt absurd, like our roles were reversed. It was as if she was Robert's wife, and I was just some tactless outsider. Catherine continued, "Don't worry, Robert's fine. We're having a great time. I'll send you some pictures later, so you can feel the festive atmosphere too." Without waiting for her to finish, I hung up. I was afraid I'd start swearing if I didn't. The Catherine now felt utterly strange to me. Even though only a year had passed since everything happened. Catherine's husband was David. He was Robert's best friend and passed away a year ago, very suddenly without warning. That day, like any other, David arranged to play basketball with Robert after work. Robert left early because he wanted to bring me a pastry, but David was still enjoying himself. However, just half an hour after Robert left, David died of a heart attack. This plunged Robert into extreme self-blame and self-loathing. If only I had been there, he might not have died. Robert was a doctor. He felt he could have saved David, but he had left early that day. This kind of pain almost drowned him, and I couldn't bear to see him like that. So when Catherine didn't know what to do about a clogged drain, I agreed to let Robert go. That was the first time, 3 months after David's death. Catherine was true to her word. She sent me dozens of photos in a package. There were pictures of Robert holding Lily, Robert holding Lily's hand, and Robert feeding Lily. In the pictures, Robert's face was gentle, and his gaze towards Lily was full of indulgence and doting affection. I zoomed in on one photo. It was one of the few where Catherine was in it. She and Robert had Lily between them, and all three faces wore happy smiles. It didn't look out of place at all. They really looked like a family of three. Robert didn't come back until 10 o'clock that night. He looked exhausted. When he saw me, the first thing he said was, "I'm so tired. Lily has so much energy. I'm already worn out, but she's still running around. Don't let her being a little girl fool you. She's just as rambunctious as any boy. Oh, and something really funny happened today." Robert excitedly recounted various moments about Lily, like a father eager to show off his child. I watched him quietly, but he didn't get a response for a long time. Robert finally realized something was off. "What's wrong? Are you mad?" I asked him. "Don't you have anything else to tell me?" Robert frowned, unable to hide the weariness on his face. He was impatient. If there were a narrator, his inner voice right then would be, "What is it now? Just tell me what you want to say." My already sour mood deepened. "Robert, why did Lily call you Daddy?" Robert rubbed his temples in frustration. "She missed her dad and asked if she could call me Daddy for the day." What was I supposed to say? There was no explanation, no comfort, no guilt. He threw the problem back at me, just like he had many times before. Robert and I ended up having a fight, and I kicked him out to the guest bedroom. He tried several times to talk things over properly, but I refused. Finally, he got angry too. With a cold face, he turned and went into the guest room. When David was alive, he doted on Catherine. Everyone knew he was a devoted husband. After their daughter was born, he became a devoted father. Of course, Catherine had the qualifications for it. She was beautiful and highly educated. To be with David, she gave up a promising career and became a housewife. David had promised he would more than make up for it. He kept his word. And just like that, he spoiled Catherine into being helpless. Catherine didn't know how to pay utility bills. Robert taught her, but she said, "It's too hard." Robert sighed helplessly. "Okay, I'll pay them for you from now on." Catherine didn't know how to cook. One time she almost burned down the kitchen, and Robert had to drop what he was doing and rush over. When a light bulb at home needed changing, Catherine didn't know what to do. Although she could call a handyman, it wasn't safe for a single mother to let a strange man into the house. One time, Robert and I were kissing, both of us getting carried away. Catherine called. Lily threw up. "What should I do? Robert, help me." Robert didn't say another word. He just got dressed and left, without even taking a moment to pull the blanket over me. It turned out Catherine had given Lily something she was allergic to, and the toddler ended up in the hospital. Catherine couldn't take Lily out alone, whether for fun or when she was sick. Robert was there whenever she called. He took on David's responsibilities, which gradually helped him find peace of mind. I knew he was compensating, but the process of his compensation made me increasingly miserable. I felt I was reaching my limit. I planned to talk to Robert, but when I woke up in the morning, he was already gone. Breakfast was on the table, packed in a thermos. There was also a note beside it. Emily, I'm sorry. I lost my temper yesterday, and I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. I know you've been understanding and lenient with me. Please give me a little more time, okay? After a long silence, I quietly ate the breakfast. Robert was genuinely busy. When I called, a nurse answered and said Robert was in surgery, 1 this morning, 2 this afternoon. Leaving on time was impossible. Since I wasn't busy today, I decided to make some food and take it to him. It had been a long time since I brought Robert food, not because I didn't want to, but because our conflicts had been growing. When I got to the department, I greeted the nurse. Her eyes widened, and she even stammered. At first, I didn't pay attention. But when I pushed open the door to Robert's office, I finally understood. They thought I was here to catch him in the act. Catherine was sitting in Robert's office chair, shoes off, playing on her phone, with Robert's jacket covering her legs. On the desk was a pastry box, half-eaten. How did I feel? Not that surprised, not completely unexpected, but my heart couldn't help but sink deeper and deeper. Emily, you're here. Make yourself comfortable. Don't be shy. Want a pastry? Robert bought it for me. He was afraid I was hungry. Catherine hasn't been feeling well lately. She's prone to overthinking when she's alone at home. She just wanted someone to have lunch with her. I couldn't refuse. This was the explanation I got after waiting for an hour. I was finding it harder and harder to see where Robert's boundaries were. Today you can bring her to the office. Tomorrow will you bring her home? The day after, will we just give her half our bed? Robert frowned tightly. What are you talking about? I sighed. Sometimes you bring trouble upon yourself. You asked me this morning if I could give you a little more time. My answer is no. With that, I stood up to leave. Robert grabbed my hand. What do you mean? Robert, either you kick Catherine out of our lives or I'll kick you out. You choose. His eyes blazed as he stared at me. You just have to push me like this. I clenched my teeth. I'm pushing you? When you said you wanted to give that mother and child alone $20,000, I didn't bat an eye and agreed. For the past 6 months, because of Catherine, I've been living in a marriage where the husband is absent/neglectful. What else do you want from me? Robert, I've been patient enough. Now it's time for you to make a choice. Robert roared. David is gone. I just want to help him. Why is that so unbearable for you? There's nothing going on between me and Catherine. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? I looked at Robert in disappointment. I never knew he could play dumb with me like this. Let go. Robert's face was cold, and he tightened his grip on my hand. A wave of nausea rolled through me. Let go. As I struggled, I finally turned my head and threw up. Robert nervously put his arms around me. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Gasping for breath, I said venomously. I'm fine. It's just what you said made me sick. Robert's hands tightened on my shoulders, making them ache. Robert and I fell into a cold war, but he seemed to change. He wasn't revolving around Catherine all the time anymore. But I didn't feel any better. It felt like a heavy stone was pressing on my chest, sometimes making it hard to breathe. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I wasn't someone who was overly emotional. Otherwise, I wouldn't have indulged Robert again and again. But Catherine had managed to push me to this state. She really had some skill. That day, I lay in bed, feeling miserable. Drowsily, I heard the bedroom door open and Robert walked in. After a while, the spot next to me dipped, and Robert wrapped his arms around me over the blanket. I opened my eyes. He buried his face in my back and said muffledly, Don't be mad at me anymore. I'll change. He said he wouldn't let Catherine come to his office anymore. He wouldn't help Catherine cook anymore. He wouldn't go to Catherine's house alone anymore. If he absolutely had to go, he would go with me. He promised he would make sure Catherine retreated from our lives. So, when Catherine called him again saying her pipe burst and she didn't know what to do, I went with Robert to her place. Catherine opened the door quickly. She was soaking wet, wearing a fiery red silk camisole that clung to her body when wet, revealing even the curve of her breasts clearly. Before I could react, she hugged herself and shrieked, as if I were the person she needed to be wary of. I glared, grabbed Robert, and turned to leave. How many times is this? How many times what? How many times has she dressed revealingly in front of you? Robert fell silent. I was just going there to help. Why does it sound so dirty when you say it? So I was the dirty one. Robert, let's get a divorce. What? Suddenly I feel like you're a bit dirty. It's disgusting. Robert didn't go back upstairs, but he did contact a repairman. We drove home in silence. Robert said, Emily, let's talk. I shook my head. I'm too tired. An exhaustion from within, and without is overwhelming me. Tomorrow. I slept fitfully. In the middle of the night, I woke up with agonizing pain in my stomach. It hurt so much I was breaking out in a cold sweat. Robert. Robert. I murmured his name, not even sure if I had spoken aloud. Just then, Robert pushed open the bedroom door and walked in. In my intense pain, I didn't notice that Robert was already fully dressed. I grabbed his hand. Robert, my stomach hurts. Take me to the hospital. Robert cut me off. Stomach hurts. Emily, bear with it. I'll take you later when I get back. Catherine's neighborhood has a power outage, and Lily is crying hard. She's a bit scared. I need to go check on them. Robert, take me to the hospital. At the time, I didn't realize how serious it was. I just had a gut feeling that I had to go to the hospital. But Robert pushed my hand away. Be reasonable. Lily is David's only child in this world. Do you have to compete with her? With that, he left without looking back. He ignored my face, which was white as a ghost, and my desperate pleas. My heart sank to the bottom. Ah! I screamed, threw off the blanket, and saw a pool of red. Finally, I called a neighbor. The couple took me to the hospital. I had a miscarriage. My first child came silently and left silently. I asked the doctor for the reason. The doctor comforted me. This was your body's decision. You're not suitable to carry this child right now. It's protecting you. So that was it. The one who could protect me, in the end, was myself. Later, I fell into a hazy sleep, waking up a few times. I sent a casual reply to Catherine's message. When I opened my eyes again, Robert was by my bed, his face haggard, his eyes bloodshot. I wasn't surprised he was there. Many doctors at their hospital knew me, and someone must have told him. Robert grabbed my hand, trembling. "Emily, it's okay. We can have another child." I coldly pulled my hand away. "Robert, let's get a divorce." His face twitched. "Emily, I was wrong. I made a mistake. I didn't know it was that serious. Emily, I'm begging you, give me another chance. Robert, let's get a divorce." Robert refused to divorce. After I was discharged, he brought me home and took meticulous care of me, taking annual leave for it. I accepted his care calmly. I had lost his child. This was his obligation. Besides, he was a doctor. He knew how to take better care of someone. It was also during this recovery period after miscarriage that he cooked for me for the first time. But every time I ate his food, I thought about how he had learned to cook specifically for Catherine and Lily. He said a lot to me, pleading for my forgiveness. He said he would change, that he wouldn't get involved with Catherine anymore. He wanted to live a good life with me, but I had already given up on that hope. People don't give up until the very last straw breaks them. Why didn't I leave sooner, knowing he would be like this? All I could say to Robert was one sentence. "Let's get a divorce." Catherine found me at this time, wanting to talk. So, while Robert was out buying groceries, I invited her over. Catherine had always been attractive. A tight dress highlighted her curvy figure. Her golden hair was styled in large waves. Her makeup was perfect, and her hands had manicured nails. She said, "I'm sorry you lost your child." I burst out laughing. "If you're going to admit that, I should call the police." Catherine's face stiffened. I said coldly, "Just say what you need to say. You don't have much time." After a long silence, Catherine said, "Please give Robert to me. I can't live without him. I'm different from you. You have a job, you're capable, but I've lost touch with the workforce. I also have a child. Only Robert can take care of us." Honestly, I didn't understand Catherine. She graduated from a top university and used to work at a Fortune 500 company. Why had she become so helpless? Of course, that wasn't my concern. I looked her up and down and said, "I've already asked Robert for a divorce. He's the one who refuses. Looks like you need to try harder if you want to depend on him." Catherine left. After Robert returned, I brought up divorce again. He gave me a silent glance, acted as if he hadn't heard, and went into the kitchen. Divorce isn't easy. If you can't reach an agreement, you have to file for divorce. But going to court is such a hassle, time-consuming and tiring. Might as well wait for a third party. Thinking that, I wasn't in a hurry anymore. Perhaps I had pushed Robert to his limit. He, who had been glued to my side, asked me for a day off. My nose felt a little sore. I looked up and sighed. "Didn't you say you wouldn't get involved with Catherine anymore? It hasn't even been a month, and you couldn't help yourself? The day I had my miscarriage, you were at Catherine's house making breakfast for her and Lily. Catherine said you would be a good father. Do you know what I was thinking then? I felt relieved. Thank God this child is gone." Robert's throat let out a choked sound. After the miscarriage, I hadn't talked to Robert about the child. There was no way to talk about it. The child was gone before we even knew it existed, perhaps thinking these parents weren't qualified. "Robert, have you ever thought about what would have happened if this child hadn't been miscarried?" Robert was silent. I continued, "I probably would have forgiven you. You didn't make a mistake of principle. You didn't actively get entangled with someone else. Although you were a bit too close, ultimately, it was helping someone out. I would have convinced myself that with a child, things would slowly get better for us. And then that would have been the start of the abyss." Robert stubbornly said, No, we would have gotten better and better, happy and complete. It's all my fault. I was wrong. Emily, it's all my fault. I let you down. I let the child down. It's all my fault. Robert, if our child had been born, and both Catherine's child and our child got sick at the same time, who would you take to the hospital first? I knew Robert desperately wanted to give me an answer. I cut him off. You would go take Catherine's child. Because she can't do anything. She wouldn't know where to register, where to get medicine. A hospital would get her lost. You might feel guilty about your own child at first, but you'd think he's your child after all. You have a lifetime to be good to him. And slowly, you wouldn't even have that initial bit of guilt anymore. Everything would become taken for granted. You have a dad, she doesn't. Can't you just let her have this? How can you be so selfish? She's already pitiful enough, and you're trying to take things from her. I got more and more agitated as I spoke. A child who clearly has a dad but acts like they don't. Just like me. I clearly have a husband, but it's like I don't. I wouldn't. How could I do that? Robert shook his head helplessly, his words pale and powerless. I looked at him. Wouldn't you? Then why have you been treating me like this all along? Robert's face was ashen. I'll change, Emily, I will change. I didn't dare gamble on how long a miscarriage would make him remember. A month, 2 months, or half a year. He would definitely change. Wouldn't he be inhuman if he didn't? But Catherine was still there, Lily was still there, all the problems were still there. Could he be heartless, ignore them completely, never ask about them? If not, it would just be another cycle. Catherine sent me a message. You're going to get a divorce, right? I frowned. I didn't want to reply, but in the end, I couldn't resist. I sent back, try to be a decent human being. Robert deleted all of Catherine's contact information in front of me. Before he deleted them, I saw countless missed calls and unread messages. Robert's attitude panicked Catherine. A couple of days ago, David's father was admitted to the hospital with high blood pressure. I heard Catherine stayed by his side, tending to him without rest. How touching. But Catherine didn't know how to take care of people. She couldn't even take care of her own child. But this must have been the only way she could get close to Robert. That night, Robert didn't come home on time. In the early hours of the morning, Catherine sent me 2 explicit photos. She and Robert had slept together. In that instant, only one thought was in my mind, just as I expected. I waited for Robert all night. The next morning, I opened the door. Robert was leaning against the wall. I didn't know how long he had been there, but the cigarette butts scattered on the floor told me it had been a while. He looked up at me, forcing a strained smile. Emily, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. I shook my head. You said the wrong thing. You should have said, Emily-chan, let's get a divorce. Robert swayed. You know? I was silent. He stepped forward abruptly, wanting to grab me. I backed away repeatedly. He stood rooted to the spot, saying weakly, I was drunk, Emily. I didn't mean to. I was just drunk. I was sick of his self-deception. Robert, you're a doctor. Don't you know what a drunk man is like? Robert clenched his fists. You did this on purpose, didn't you? What? Catherine showed me your chat history. You actually hoped I would do something. You were waiting for me to make a mistake, weren't you? Disappointment reached its peak, and somehow I could laugh. So, it turns out if I just waited, you would make a mistake. Good thing I didn't forgive you. Robert and I divorced. He left with nothing, giving me the money, the house, and the car. His only request at the end was, Emily, please don't hate me. I didn't confirm or deny it. How could there be such a strong emotion? I had the car windows tinted. The classic black was now a flashy red. I changed the interior too, including the seat covers. The whole car was brand new. That day, I found Robert's exercise equipment in the closet. He had bought it but never used it. He was too busy. At first busy with work and later busy with Catherine. So I gave the equipment to the high school student downstairs. He was very happy, and his mom even gave me a bag of tomatoes. While I was at it, I replaced all the bedding sets. Robert liked dark colors, but I actually preferred light colors. Robert had a few medical books tucked away on my bookshelf. After some thought, I mailed them directly to the hospital. I gathered up the gifts he had given me and listed them on an online marketplace. They sold quite well. I slowly kicked Robert's traces out of my life. This process still made me cry a lot of tears. After all, he was the man who had been with me from campus to marriage. None of that was the hardest part. The hardest part was our parents. We got divorced quietly. By the time they found out, it was too late. His mom and my mom both cried in front of me. One blamed me for being impulsive, the other blamed her son for being foolish. I explained the conflicts between Robert and me to them, but hid the fact that Robert and Catherine had slept together. This was to give each other some dignity, but Catherine didn't want that dignity. She pressured Robert's family into marriage. She said either they get married, or she would publicize her relationship with Robert. Robert's parents were so angry they almost had to be hospitalized. My mom started scolding Robert too. But my life went on. I worked alone, came home alone, and enjoyed my time by myself. It didn't take long for me to adjust. My mom asked me, "Are you going to get married again?" I politely declined. Probably not. As soon as my mom heard that, she started crying again, saying Robert had ruined me. It was quite a headache. But actually, I wanted to say that I had many ways to find happiness, and marriage was the riskiest one. Robert and Catherine got married. They only registered the marriage, without a wedding ceremony. But everyone who needed to know knew. Gossip started spreading. Some said Robert's intentions weren't pure from the start. The $20,000 he gave Catherine and how much he helped her. It was all because he had ill intentions towards her. Maybe things weren't clean between them even when David was alive. Gossip only gets dirtier. There's no dirtiest. Some said Catherine was like a clingy person, impossible to shake off. Robert deserved it, rushing in to be a sucker, and now it had backfired. Others envied Catherine, saying being pretty was great. After one man died, another man immediately stepped in, and each one was better than the last. Living life like her was worth it. Catherine was a clever woman. She found a good catch. This was the consensus among everyone. But only Catherine knew she wasn't doing well. She was doing very badly. No wedding? She endured it. After all, David had only been gone for a year. It wouldn't look good. But what she didn't expect was that Robert would make her live with him in the hospital dorm. Robert had left with nothing, giving me all the money, car, and house. Furious, Catherine came to me demanding a redistribution of assets. I nodded and said with a half-smile, "Are you going to give me back the $20,000 Robert gave you? Catherine, you're truly a good person." Catherine was so choked up her chest hurt. She shrieked, "How can you be so shameless?" My expression was indifferent. "Well, I still treat you like a person, don't push your luck." Catherine was a bit stunned, as I had never spoken harshly to her before. Catherine didn't know I had been giving her face out of respect for David. She was David's widow, the mother of David's only child. Respect for the deceased. Everyone else was the same. The people who associated with Catherine, the people who gave Catherine favors, all did it because of David, including Robert. Now everyone had changed. The women who used to invite her shopping and getting manicures had cut ties with her. Catherine, enraged, demanded to know why. One of them said, "We used to ask you out because we were afraid you were sad. Now it looks like you're having a great time." The gym that had always let her use it for free refused her entry. When she asked why, the owner just chuckled. "Have your husband get a membership. It's not like he's short on cash." Catherine was furious. She told Robert about it, hoping for comfort. But Robert said they were David's friends, not Catherine's friends. How heartbreaking. Without David, Catherine didn't even have friends. But then she thought she still had Robert. Robert was the best person in the world, better than David. It didn't matter that Robert had left with nothing. He was so good at making money, enough for her needs. But Robert had changed too. Catherine wanted to move back into the big house. Robert refused. That was David's house. You should sell it and give half the money to David's parents. Catherine's eyes widened. Why should I? Because it was David's house and his parents have inheritance rights too. The elderly aren't pursuing it out of consideration for Lily, but you should be sensible yourself. Catherine was enraged. She locked herself in her room, hoping Robert would come and comfort her, just like he had many times before. But Robert didn't come. Not only did he not comfort her, he didn't even cook for her. Catherine said she was hungry. Robert told her to eat at the hospital cafeteria. She said she didn't like it. Robert told her to order delivery herself. Catherine was frantic and wanted to cry. Robert used to pick out food for her, and even cooked for her sometimes. Robert rubbed his temples wearily. Back then, I was just afraid you'd be too sad about David's sudden passing and wouldn't take care of yourself. Catherine had a knack for ignoring what she didn't want to hear. So she challenged Robert. "So you're not afraid I'll be sad now?" Robert looked at her strangely. "If you were really sad, why were you so eager to get into my bed?" The life Catherine had fought for now wasn't making her happy at all. Robert was always getting angry at her. Robert was angry because she hired a house cleaner. Robert was angry because she sent clothes for dry cleaning. Robert was angry because she hired a nanny to cook. Robert was angry because she didn't pick up Lily on time. Robert was angry because she didn't know how to take Lily to the doctor. But the one who was wrong was Robert. These were things he used to do. He was the one who should be taking care of her and Lily. Now he had abandoned his duties. Was he expecting her to do it? She didn't know how. Catherine decided to teach Robert a lesson. She booked a tour and went on a spur-of-the-moment trip. She had a great time. Until one day her card was maxed out. Catherine was stunned. She called Robert and asked him to send her money. Robert said coldly, "It's gone." "What do you mean it's gone?" "I mean I don't have any money left." Catherine didn't believe it. She rushed back that night and confronted Robert. "You won't even let me use your money now? Robert, how could you be like this?" Robert was expressionless. "I don't have any money." "I don't believe you." Robert scoffed. "I'm just a doctor, a regular doctor. What makes you think I'm loaded?" "But you used to be." Robert cut her off. "Because back then I had Emily Chen. She could bear the heavy burdens with me. What can you do?" "Nothing." Catherine had never been spoken to like that. She shrieked in anger. "I want a divorce." Robert immediately pulled out divorce papers. "Sign them." Catherine was just trying to scare Robert. How could she divorce him? Who would she find after leaving Robert? She just wanted Robert to give her money. But seeing Robert's resolute attitude, Catherine got scared. She could only grit her teeth and refuse to sign. If he pushed her too hard, she would cry. Robert used to be terrified of her crying, but now he was expressionless, even looking at her with a hint of scrutiny. Then he murmured, "When I refused to divorce her back then, was this how she felt?"